Hello everyone. Today we're going to continue in our geometry unit, but we're going to shift and be talking about complementary and supplementary angles. So here's a little math joke that also gives you a preview of what complementary angles look like. Our learning target for the day is I can solve problems with complementary and supplementary angles. So let's get started in talking about what complementary angles are. Two angles are complementary when the sum of their measures is 90 degrees. So if I add up two angle measures and they equal 90 degrees, they would be considered complementary. Here is a picture of two complementary angles, and I know that they're complementary because if I add the two measures of the angles, 25 plus 65, it adds up to 90 degrees. A pair of complementary angles are always going to create a right angle. So this symbol here tells us that it's a right angle. It also tells us that it's 90 degrees. 90-degree angles are always right angles. One way that I remember what complementary angles are is that a compliment is the right thing to do. So if you compliment someone, you're being kind, that's the right thing to do. And then complementary angles are right angles. So that might help you out. Here's another example of complementary angles. They look a little bit different. However, I can prove that they're complementary because 50 degrees plus 40 degrees equals 90 degrees. So really, any two angles that add up to 90 degrees are considered complementary. Now, on the left, I have an example of adjacent complementary angles. On the right, they are non-adjacent complementary angles. So what does adjacent mean? Adjacent basically means side by side. So two angles are adjacent if they share a common side. So this would be these angles, common side, and a common vertex. These ones do not share a common side or vertex, but they are still considered complementary. Now, some complementary angle practice. What might a problem look like? Here, the problem is asking us to solve for x. So when I look at this problem, I recognize that there's a right angle. That means that they are complementary angles and that the sum of the two angle measures must add up to 90 degrees. So I can write an equation to help me think about this problem and to solve for x. So I know that the measure of x plus 62 degrees must add up and equal 90 degrees. To solve the equation, I'm going to subtract 62 from both sides. I then arrive at my solution, which is x equals 28 degrees. To check my solution, I can plug back in my solution in for x, and I see that 62 plus 28 is equal to 90 degrees. This next problem is a little bit more challenging, but I think it's important to continue to challenge you guys right now. The process is still the same, but what you'll notice is that there are more terms and more variable terms included in the problem. I'm still going to use the same format because I see that it's a right angle. I know that they're complementary, which means they have to equal 90 degrees. So to write my equation, I'm going to take the measure of this angle, which is x plus 4, and I'm going to take the measure of this angle, which is 3x plus 2, and all of those together must add up and equal 90 degrees. Now my next step is to combine the like terms. So I'm going to combine my x terms, x and 3x, and then I'm going to combine the constants, which are 4 and 2, which gives me 4x plus 6 equals 90. My next step in solving this equation is to subtract 6 from both sides. Now I'm left with 4x equals 84. So I will divide both sides by 4, and my solution is x equals 21. To check my solution here, I'm going to plug in my solution. So 21 is going to be substituted for x for my original equation. So 21 plus 4 plus 3 times 21 plus 2 is equal to 90 degrees. So I know that my solution is correct. The last type of problem that you might see is a word problem without any picture. So this problem says, what is the complement angle to 9 degrees? So I still see the word complement. I know that complementary angles must add up to 90 degrees. So if one of the angles is 9 degrees, I know that the other one, the missing value, plus 9, must equal 90. So it's very similar to that first one. I'm going to subtract 9 from both sides, and I see that x is equal to 81. To check my solution, 9 plus 81 does add up to 90 degrees, so I know that they are complementary. So that is all the practice for complementary angles. Hopefully that is making sense so far. The next angle relationship that we have is called supplementary angles. So two angles are supplementary when the sum of their measures is 180 degrees. So very similar to complementary, but now instead of adding up to 90 degrees, supplementary angles will add up to 180 degrees. So let's look at a picture of what that might look like. I know that these angles are supplementary because 120 degrees plus 60 degrees equals 180 degrees. A pair of supplementary angles will create a straight line. So any straight line is measured as 180 degrees. Two supplementary angles will make a straight line because they're also equal to 180 degrees. One way that I remember supplementary angles is that supplementary starts with an S and straight line starts with an S. So that's a helpful reminder to help you remember the difference between supplementary and complementary. Here is another example of supplementary angles. Again, I can prove that they're supplementary because 110 degrees plus 70 degrees equals 180 degrees. So any two angles that add up to 180 degrees are considered supplementary. On the left, they are adjacent supplementary angles, and on the right, they are non-adjacent supplementary angles. And the reason why is because adjacent means that they must share that common side and vertex. So problem solving with supplementary angles, what might a problem look like? In number 1, it asks me to solve for x. So I see that there's a straight line. I know they are supplementary, and they must add up to 180 degrees. To write my equation, I know that the measure of angle x and 118 degrees must add up and equal 180 degrees. To solve this equation, I will subtract 118 from both sides, and my solution is x equals 62 degrees. To check my solution, 62 plus 118 equals 180 degrees. In example 2, again, there's a little bit more complex terms here, but the process is still the same. I see the straight line, which means that they are supplementary and add up to 180 degrees. So 2x plus 10, which is my angle on the left, plus x plus 26, which is my angle on the right, must add up to 180 degrees. My next step is to combine like terms, so I'm going to combine 2x and x, and 10 and 26, which gives me 3x plus 36 equals 180 degrees. To solve this equation, I'm going to subtract 36 from both sides, which leaves me with 3x equals 144. My last step is to divide both sides by 3, which tells me that my solution is x is equal to 48. To check my solution, I'm going to plug in 48 in place of x from my original equation. So 2 times 48 plus 10 plus 48 plus 26 is equal to 180 degrees. Again, the last type of problem you might see will be a word problem that does not include a picture. And the problem says, what is the supplement angle to 49 degrees? Right away, since I see the word supplement, I know supplementary angles are going to have 180 degrees in them. To set up my equation, I know that the angle plus 49 degrees should equal 180 degrees. And then to solve, I will subtract 49 from both sides, which tells me that my solution is x is equal to 131 degrees. To check my solution, 131 plus 49 is equal to 180. And that is all that I have for you guys today. So really nice job. The main difference from today is just remembering that complementary are 90 degrees and supplementary are 180 degrees. So I left you with that little visual to kind of help you out. But hopefully that was helpful. And then if you guys have any questions, just let me know.